AppOnboard, a non-code game design and development platform, announced on Thursday it has named Mike Seavers as its new chief executive officer. Seavers was formerly the CTO at Riot Games and was with the company for 7.5 years, where he helped Riot Games scale globally from its early success with League of Legends. Joining us now is Mike Seavers. Mike, great to have you with me today. Seems like a pretty big move for you, from gaming giant to no-code game development platform. Why did you decide to make this move?
Hi, Nora. It's great to be on the show. Thank you. I get that question a lot from a lot of people, and I think even my own family and friends were kind of like, why would you leave Riot to go do something like a small startup? And I even asked myself that question when I started getting the itch. And I think one of the things that I realized was that, as a leader, one of the things that I really enjoy is kind of the growth and scale phase of a company. And I was fortunate to be able to join Riot kind of early on and help grow the engineering and technology teams to what ended up being over 1,000 people around the globe. And now that Riot is recently just shipped Legends of Runeterra and Valorant and TFT Mobile, it was a great time for me to think about making a switch as Riot really kind of enters a new chapter of the company's future.
Yeah, it sounds like with your new company, the scale of the games themselves, at least at first, might not be as big as what you would see with Riot Games, but you're giving more access to people to make those games. So to that point, what is the upward bound of the types of games you expect to come out of AppOnboard? Will we still see complex multiplayer games, or what really is that upward bound that you're envisioning?
Yeah, I think the current capabilities of the engine and what we do are very hyper casual focused. But I do think we do have aspirations to grow the engine well beyond kind of the hyper casual market and look at more kind of advanced gameplay and more multiplayer capabilities, potentially even other platforms. We're still trying to decide what that roadmap looks like for us over the next 12 to 18 months. But yes, we definitely have aspirations well beyond the hyper casual market.
So I want to understand kind of what the builder experience actually looks like. Your flagship product is called BuildBox. So kind of walk me through, if I had a game idea, where would I start with this platform?
Yeah, so BuildBox, what BuildBox really does well is allows creators who have a great idea to realize their vision without having to program. I talked to someone today who was telling me a story about a game that they made, and they said, I have this vision, but I have to. I need the engineers to actually make it a reality. And so when you open up BuildBox, you're presented initially with some templates. Here's some things that are kind of game templates that are trends in the marketplace today. You take those templates and you can start building a game immediately without really having to do any programming at all. There's a lot of drag and drop interface, a lot of going in and moving things around and turning some of the knobs and dials and sliders to kind of affect the gameplay. And if you're a more advanced user, you can certainly get behind the scenes and look at some of the code and do some more advanced things. But the general experience is one of not having to program in order to create compelling gameplay.
Mike, that sounds very cool, and it seems very easy just from the images that we've been showing. But I do want to get your take on some developments in just the gaming community. We learned yesterday that Ninja has decided to delete TikTok from his phone, from his devices. He cited data privacy concerns that it's owned by a Chinese internet company. Obviously, he does play League of Legends, a Riot game, which is owned by Tencent, a Chinese internet company. Do you think some of these concerns within the gaming community specifically are kind of justified of these apps and services that are owned by Chinese internet companies?
Yeah, I think the relationship between China and the U.S. is complex, and I certainly understand everyone's concerns over privacy, and I think company by company, it really depends on that company's stance and philosophy on privacy. For example, I know Riot takes a very, very strong stance on privacy, which is something that I personally kind of worked on in my last 6 to 12 months there. And so every company is different, every technology is different. I do think it's something that consumers should take seriously and make sure and that they're their privacy and their information is protected, and should look to do business with companies that do take privacy seriously. I think Apple's really kind of driving a standard there that is a great example of a really strong philosophy around privacy, and so it depends on each individual company. The gaming industry as a whole, I think, is taking this seriously and is trying to do what they can to protect consumer and player privacy.
Mike, quickly before I let you go, I do want to look ahead a little bit. You were saying that the games of focus on AppOnboard are a little bit more casual, but I've stood in line for hours at Penny Arcade Expo waiting to test out VR games before. Seems like they haven't really taken off yet. What is your viewpoint on where VR video games are actually going to fit into the ecosystem?
Yeah, I think VR is one of those technologies that has a lot of promise, but until hardware is small enough and capable enough to make it a really mainstream, accessible kind of industry, I think it'll be a while before it really takes off in gaming. There's certainly some really fun VR games out there, and we're starting to see more of that. But the hardware itself is still very expensive, very bulky, and kind of not as performant as we'd want it to be to really create those immersive, fun gameplay experiences that you would expect.
I played Fruit Ninja in VR, in case you're wondering, and it was very fun with my katanas. It was awesome.
It is fun.
All right, Mike, thank you so much for your time today. Good luck with everything. That's Mike Seavers, CEO of AppOnboard and former CTO of Riot Games. Coming up, we'll tell you what big name tech stock is high on Millennials' buy list. Our stock of the week is next.